Shalom, shalom, shalom. Brother Tabalai back again with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying. I'm sitting here listening to Benjamin address the UN. And man, when you just, how can you succumb to constant lie after lie after lie and know somebody's lying, but you just keep succumbing to these lies? So once again, he's back at it, justifying his G side in Gaza and condemning those who condemned him for such G-side, but that's Esau divided. So today we're on on our own, in these. And as always, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahachadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the bishops, the leadership of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, to the 144,000, and to the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you, I say shalom. These backyard, man, it's difficult to grasp what to call an individual like this. And we understand, our people, and we're not justifying our people because in many regards, you know, man, the scriptures calls them sadish. So that is what it is. But, that sadish can be in many directions because they refuse the word of the Lord. And we'll get that. But we'll begin. As you can see, we have our copyright, so we're going to play this quick video, and as always, for us, the beginning starts in Proverbs 9:9, and it reads, "Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning." How is this made possible? Through the fear of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. And man, our people fear not the Lord, and therefore they're caught up in every wind of doctrine. You know what I mean? They're turned to and fro. Every wind of doctrine. You know. And this lesson was inspired by Elder Manata Zagba, South Carolina, '08. Um, I was watching the one he did, and it really it rubs you the wrong way when a charlatan, when a wolf in sheep's clothing, when a damn man degenerate, you know, is coming down on a people that you can clearly hear by his message he would be considered the cause for their ignorance. You know, it says this is Ephesians 4:14, and it reads that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. And we had, the 23rd and the 24th of September deception. Why? Because, man, they're tossed to and fro. They're like little children, you know, like Elder Manat Zakba said, they want the Cliff Note version, and not just the Cliff Note version, but an obscene, incorrect version, a feel good doctrine. They don't want the real, you know, thing, because the real thing doesn't make them feel warm and mushy inside. The real thing convicts you. It requires change. It requires an adjustment. It requires a responsibility, and that's not what they want. That's why, hey, that's why Israelites love Christianity. Christianity says, come as you are and stay as you are. There's no need for change. And to boot, Christianity declares that it believes in the God of the Bible, but the God of the Bible changed his mind, raised up his people, gave his people laws, statutes, commandments, punished his people for their transgressions, and then basically abandoned his people and chose a whole new other people. This is what Christianity teaches. It's just on and on, on and on and on and on. So let's get into this. I'm going to refer to him as a nutbag, for lack of a better term. But this degenerate, and the fact that these idiots aren't getting up and walking out, it's a testament to the stupidity of our people, man. Let's listen to this jackass. You may or may not listen to the whole thing. It's about 6 minutes long. Um, this was put up by Rick Suez. You know, the fact that he still has a so-called black membership, it's just a testament.
But y'all, I understand we need to move beyond color. I'm not about that, but y'all raised it. If you start it, I'll end it for you. Don't start nothing, it won't be nothing.
You gotta despise fake niggas and they fake thuggery here on the pulpit. You start none, don't start none, won't be none. If this ain't some backyard, backwoods, backwater bastard, you just, it's hard to imagine where one's at. You know, yeah, man. You know, It's just the kind of devil that gives you carnal thoughts on what you'd like to do to him, you know, because he's a demon, man.
But we got a problem. Black people got a problem. Now we can move to color blindness and always look at the man by the content of his character, never the color of his skin. I'm down for that. You get my vote. Yay and amen. I'm for that. But before we get there, we need to hear some truth. Black people and white folk. Black people got a problem. And it's a God problem.
You know, and how do you educate it, but you don't know there are no black or white? How is it that that doesn't come to your understanding? How is it that that's lost on you?
When black people see the world, I don't get, you can train them. You can train a black man to be a physician. You can train him to be an astrophysicist. You can train him to be a lawyer, but you can't train him to understand the world. He doesn't know. I'm telling you. There's not 2 cents worth of difference between a mass murderer. There's not 2 cents of difference between a petty thief that's locked away in prison than a black doctor when it comes to understanding the world. Listen, you listen to me. We got to deal with this. And we need to begin to acknowledge it, talk about it, ask God to help us because only God can help black people where they are. Black people had Africa, that big old continent over there. They never built one boat that was seaworthy, not one.
See, and this is this is from a nigga that's supposed to be in the scriptures. This is First Kings 9:26, and it says, "And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezenberg, as Aziongerber, which is beside Ethel, on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom, and Haram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon." So Haram is a so-called Hamitic king. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. So again, and if you read further and in more depth, you know, which would require you to read the Apocrypha, you'd know that they had, ships worthy of seafaring. You'd know that, if you understood the Omex, but you're caught under the delusion that, a race of people walked across the Bering Strait, although there's no residue to prove that. This is how a nation of people arrived on the shores of Babylon. You know, it's constantly, man. Wolf in sheep's clothing. A degenerate. Man, let's just keep listening to this demon. You know, and let's see here. Let's get down real quick. So this is a Hiram, Phoenician king. Hiram I, king of Tyre, ruled a powerful Phoenician city-state during the 10th century BCE. The exact dates of his reign are debated by scholars, which estimates placing it between 980 and 947 BCE. His reign coincides with the rise of the United Kingdom of Israel under King David and his son Solomon. But how does he not know this? Isn't he in the scriptures? Doesn't he read and study? Or is he just some backwoods, backyard ass buster? I'm thinking the latter. Just another coon paid to denigrate his own people to bring down. See, because he's not coming at this from a scriptural standpoint where he's trying to turn a people back to their power, back to their Lord. No, he's trying to turn the people back to their oppressor, back to their slave master, back to white supremacy. This dude is a hireling. He's a informant. He's a paid fucking spy. Oh my goodness. You really just you pray that the Most High touches this dude, man, and in the worst way possible, because we'll keep listening.
There's not one monument in Africa, in all of Africa. I know you're talking about Egypt. Egypt is not Africa.
Like, where does this dude? And I realize that with his head so far shoved up his own ass that it's popping out of his neck again, that he would just declare that Egypt is not in Africa. I mean, where's it at? And nobody challenges him here. None of these imbeciles, none of these sottish. And you ask yourself, how can somebody still be ancient, least fossils on stage? You know what I mean? And you have to know that the dude back here is probably his bodyguard on the notion that somebody may jump up and have had enough of hearing this nigga's mouth. This is a nigger right here, man. Pure, uncut, unadulterated nigger. Jackass. Hey, whose mouths must be, man, let's get that. Let's get that. Because this is the epitome, this is a walking, talking example of whose mouths must be shut, man. This dude is you man, Titus 1:10. It says, "For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not for filthy lucre's sake." Now, if you don't think that this devil is being paid by the devil to bring this type of let's just keep listening.
There are no great cities that were built. Even before the first colonization of white people coming to the shores of Africa or the slave ships, black men built nothing. No sewer system, no houses above one level, and none of them made out of stone. All of them made out of grass and wood. Black men, before the white man ever got to Africa. The worst thing that could ever happen to South Africa was when they gave it to Nelson Mandela and black folk. That was a great nation. Now, notwithstanding apartheid was wrong, we all know it's wrong. I'm against it. There should have been some other resolution, though, than turning it over to Nelson Mandela. Disease, AIDS, and crime is running wild in Johannesburg. They're killing one another over there. They're dying of sickness. The government is mismanaged. The people who ran the nation are now leaving the nation because black folk don't know how to run no nation. They don't know how, and we need to admit it.
Help me, Mr. White Man. Help me. Help me. I can't do it on my own, Mr. White Man. Mr. White Man, I don't know how I survived without you. Please, Mr. White Man, can you help me? Help me. Help me.
I know you don't like it, but you need to stop shucking and jiving. We got a problem. Nigeria produces oil every year, yet the children over there are hungry and pot-bellied and walking barefoot. We got a problem. You talk about the Hutus and the Tutsis. Look what's going on in Zimbabwe now with Mugabe. We got a problem, black folk. And forget about Zimbabwe and South Africa, Nigeria. Look at what y'all have done in Harlem. You can't even hold on to Harlem.
Let's see. Does colonization affect the African civilization to this day?
According to socials2dshelp.com, this article has provided a comprehensive overview of the effects of colonization on African societies, examining its historical, socio-cultural, economic, and political impacts, and highlighting the path forward as African nations work to overcome this legacy.
And this is just a quick, simple click. I mean, when I guess, they have no time to cross-reference this madman. This is a madman.
We got a problem. Black folk don't understand the world. You can get mad with me all you want. You can say what you, but you can't.
Let's do this one more time. Gentrification.
According to Wikipedia, a real estate encyclopedia defines gentrification as the process by which central urban neighborhoods that have undergone disinvestments and economic decline experience a reversal, reinvestment, and the in-migration of a well-off middle and upper middle class population.
Just simple checks would establish that everything this maggot is spewing forth out of his vile mouth that ought to be shut is a lie. Is a wicked, dirty, low down lie. And the sideways part of it is, had not hit these people, or if they weren't so sottish, they would recognize that. You know what I mean? They would raise up in arms against this devil and cast him out. This dude is a demon.
They prove me wrong. Now, I'm not saying this because I hate black folk. I'm saying it because I love you enough to tell the truth. And the only person going to ever help us get out of the situation is going to be God. There's something wrong with the black.
And let me get you. Let's get. Let's get who he's talking about. Picture of Jesus.
According to LDSAR.com,
so here's the God he's talking
pictures,
about.
Images, paintings.
This is the guy that's going to get you niggas out of what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? This is him. This is who he's referring to. This is who he sees when he's in his house masturbating and when he's doing everything he does. That's who he sees. I love this boy. You know what I mean? This is not who he sees. He doesn't see this. This is not who he pictures when he closes his eyes and he calls on sweet baby Jesus. You know what I mean? This is not what comes to his mind. You know, this is not what he sees. Woo! You know, he doesn't picture this right here. You know what I mean? Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's the furthest thing from this devil's mind. You know, he doesn't picture the Father and the Son that resemble each other, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. No, 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 no. What he sees is that damn sweet baby Jesus. You know, old pork and beans himself. That's who he sees. That's what he imagines when he closes his eyes.
Man, mind. There's something wrong with his mind. He does not understand the world. He doesn't. I don't care if he learned medicine. He doesn't understand the world. He can't even hold on to Harlem. When he was here, he moved out. We got to talk to the Lord. People, we got to talk to God.
Got to talk to sweet baby Jesus. You know what I mean? Got to talk to sweet baby Jesus. You know, hey, we didn't build nothing. Timbuktu manuscripts is the blanket term for a large number of historically significant manuscripts that have been preserved for centuries in private households in Timbuktu. And he literally doesn't take into account that all of the history that's in these French, in these English, in these different museums around the world that were stolen. If so-called Africa and these lands, you know what I mean, have nothing to offer and black folks have nothing to offer, why have they been digging them up and taking over them and running through them and stealing everything? Why? If there's nothing to offer. You can't make these devils up, man. This is a hireling. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is a fox trapped in the hen house, or the hens trapped in there with the fox. You know.
And black women, Shirley Chisholm, Harriet Tubman, Coretta King, one of her boys. Yeah, okay, then we got a black president. But you black women, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all gonna let that white woman? What's wrong with you black women voting for Barack? Don't you understand? It should have been a black room if you're gonna have a black president. What's wrong with you? Y'all ain't got no sense, you black women. You're men.
You know, and you got to ask yourself, how many of his members is he trying to get? Because a statement like that comes from a man of complete lack of understanding. Comes from a degenerate. You don't need a black womb to create a so-called black man. You need the seed of the Father. You know, but only a degenerate reprobate would come out and spew this nonsense. A man of low IQ, low intellect, low information, as elder, low hanging fruit. You know, it doesn't matter whatever spectrum you put this devil on, it's low. It's rotted. It has no value.
And treat you like the dogs, like your dogs. They walk all over you. They make you pay the bills at home, and then the preachers pimp you in churches and make you pay the bills. Y'all crazy.
Did he just confess to himself? Did he just confess on himself? Huh? Did you hear him? He just literally confessed to his most like his own actions.
Black women buying these black men private jets, the tune of $50 million for a nigga to ride around in a private jet. And you talk about, look at our pastor. What's wrong with y'all women? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And what's wrong with a black man that would take that kind of money out of a poor neighborhood, buy himself a private jet? What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, black women?
He sounds like somebody who wants a private jet but won't nobody put it into getting one.
What's wrong with you voting for Barack Obama? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy. Black people, let me tell y'all something. If you don't ever hear me say preach again, they can kill me tomorrow. But let me tell you something. We're not going to ever get anywhere until we look into the mind of a black man. He doesn't think correctly. I don't care what he is. He can be a doctor. He can be an astrophysicist. The nigga ain't got no sense. You talk to him. You talk to a black man. He doesn't understand the world. He's never built anything. The most the black people have ever done, they did it here in America under white people's help. When they were in Africa, they didn't do nothing.
Wow. You can't make this up, man. You can't. You can't. You know. Hey, we need Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, point blank, because our own people, you know what I mean? Hey, let's get that real quick. This is This is Zechariah 11. We'll start at 3, and it reads, "There is a voice of howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled, a voice of roaring of young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus saith Yahweh Bahashem, thus saith Yahweh, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they sell them, and they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not." You know what I mean? And this would be considered, one of the shepherds, the former shepherds. See, the Most High removed these demons, and he sent his men back in order to bring forth fruit and to bring the elect from the grasp, to bring the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of these scriptures back to his people. But again, our people refuse, and they want to stay locked into these harlot houses where deception and ignorance runs rampant. Says verse 6, "For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith Yahweh, but lo, I will deliver the men every one unto his neighbor's hands, and into the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them." And these people are locked in. And they're completely trapped and enamored in this mad and foolishness. But yeah, you know, would man, you know, and these are the type of people that run, you know, to the 23rd and the 24th. And if you know, you know. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So, with that, I want to close by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha Chadash, and double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, men of great millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, to the 144,000, and to the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you I say Shalom.